Hey Nisali, how's it going?
Hi, after a long time. I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good as always. So I really want to take this time to appreciate. I know that you have a very busy schedule. So moving on to the first question. You're an architecture graduate, right? And an artist. So how did you combine these two fields?
Well, actually, I didn't want to it's already combined actually. I started with painting, I mean art, and then I started doing architecture. It's already like combined two fields, and I really enjoyed.
That's understandable. I mean, it doesn't matter as long as you enjoy it. So can you tell us a bit about your process as an artist?
About the process, I actually work with many materials, art materials like oil paints, watercolor, colored pencils, markers, and so on. So it's like depends with my mood. Like right now, I'm just painting with some oil paints. It's so nice that this background. So I thought of doing with some oil paints. But when I don't have enough time to do, the brush cleaning and all, I play with some colored pencils or like graphite pencils. That's like that.
Well, that's fine. So, speaking of your profession, can you tell us about any recent projects that you've been working on?
Okay, about my profession, I'm an architect as well as an artist. So these days, in weekdays, I work as an architect. In the weekends, I work as an artist. So these days, I'm doing some housing projects, and I work in a company. So I work as a junior architect there. So we do some commercial projects as well as some housing. So it's really nice that we go site visits and measuring stuff and clients meetings, things like that. In art, I've been working on a few live paintings. So my model come there and I just paint them, as well as some commission paintings, some portraits of pets. Like so many projects are going on. So I really enjoy the time that I'm working with.
Well, that's lovely to hear. Now, it's clear that you have a lot of passion and dedication for your work. So, what do you hope to achieve in the future?
Well, it's pretty hard to balance both. Like I'm an artist and as an architect, those are like really. I mean, like architecture is like a vast area. What I want to do in future is to be the both, like artist and an architect. I really hope I can do it. Let's see. That's what I want to do. I don't want to stop anything. Like I want both of them.
Well, that is going to be tough, but I think that you can pull it off. So, can you tell us about a project that you are particularly proud of and why?
Well, that's a nice question. It will be a pretty long answer. Well, in 2017, first of all, I'm not an art student. At school, I never learned art at school. I did music, I'm a pianist. So in 2017, I did one painting for an art competition. Actually, my mother wanted me to do for that competition. And then I painted a horse. We'll show you that later. And then, unfortunately, they didn't believe me that I did it. They said it's a print. I was like, okay, I did it. And then I didn't have anything to prove myself that I did it. So I decided to take it back home. And then I realized that I kind of have a talent for making art. And that's the point that it's like my turning point in life. I started believing myself and started painting seriously. So it's been like 5 years I'm doing art as a profession. I have contributed myself for many art projects. I'm selling, and it's pretty good that I'm really proud of that painting. That one painting changed my whole life. Started believing on myself. So once I got rejected, now I'm doing more.
Well, indeed, everyone says that failure is the first step to success. So I think that you have achieved that in your way. So, next question is, how do you approach balancing your profession and passion?
Well, actually, it's a nice question. Uh, but for me, my profession is my passion. You already see it, right? So I don't need to give extra attention to balance it because like passion is what you love to do. Profession is what you are getting paid for. Well, I actually getting paid for what I like to do. So it's already there.
That's actually nice to hear, and in a way, you are lucky when it comes to this question. So, next question is, what are some of your favorite materials to work with and why?
Well, it's a pretty tough question. It's like, well, I love all of them. Actually, the selecting materials depends with the mood and the type of work, maybe. Um, Honestly, I love oil paintings because it's like very forgiving medium because you can paint on it like more and more. If you like thinking you did a mistake, you can paint over it. So it's pretty forgiving. But I also love colored pencils because when I do architecture, I don't have much time to, clean the brushes and making my studio easel. I don't have time for that. So I use colored pencils because it's really easy. You can just sharp it and you can paint it. You can draw it anywhere in your architectural studio. So it's really easy to use. But apart from that, I actually work with every medium like watercolors, markers. So those are like my babies. I can't select one.
Okay, so the next question is a bit tricky. Can you tell us about a time when you faced a creative block or a challenge and how did you overcome it?
Oh yeah, that happens mostly in architecture. We don't get any ideas sometimes. It's like the brainstorming period. It's like for that I actually for the painting is not happening, but for architecture, of course, it's happening a lot. So what I do is I remember for in my every academic project, before I do the project, I go on a trip. I remember I went on a trip before my final year project, 3 days out of my home, no Wi-Fi, in the middle of the jungle, with my sister and my friends. We had amazing time with the nature, where you forget everything. You don't have your cell phone and no Wi-Fi, so just the nature and you. So that's one thing I do honestly, and I try my best to travel. I have only weekends and weekdays, so I have to contribute myself for weekdays as an architect. But every possible weekends I do go traveling anywhere in Sri Lanka. So that's how I come up with new ideas, inspirations. It's a good relief for me that I can travel more.
Well, as I always say, I think Mother Nature has all the solutions for every problem that we are looking for. So, how does your background in architecture influence your artistic work and vice versa?
Okay, it's a nice question. In painting, in art, I started doing animal portraits first, and then I studied in my art academy, about human portraits. There I studied about the human, the anatomy, the skull, studied about a lot of things, how the muscles works and how we should paint it. So those are some, some technical stuff that we need to learn in art, and that was really good. Once I started architecture, there I learned about the proportions and perspectives. When I'm doing, let's say, a scenario, how I come up with the proportions and the perspective. So those things I learned in architecture, And I learned few stuff in my academy, but with the architecture background, I learned it a lot. So it was so amazing that those fields are connecting, because in the end, architecture is mother of all arts. So, and as a pianist, I can combine all this music and art, everything in architecture. So for me, it's like I'm somewhere in like combine things. So it's really nice.
That's obviously very, very nice to hear, Nisali. Now we know that you are very, very talented, super talented indeed. So your last big question is, what do you like to tell people who are struggling to balance their passion and profession? What would your message be to them?
Well, the message I want to give, if it's you are really lucky, if your passion is your profession, if you can find a profession that what you love to do, then you are so lucky. But it doesn't matter that, let's say you are a doctor or engineer or any other, you are a writer or any other thing. But if you have a passion for something, like let's say music, art, let's say you love to play cricket, the passion can be anything, even photography, whatever. So finding a time for it is the main thing. You may don't find a time, like we know, like we have to be committed. I mean, we have to be committed for our work when we work, like to earn money. So, but at the meantime, if you can find a little time for your passion, it can be like before you sleeping. I remember when I doing my architecture degree, I don't have time for do paintings. So, but I love to do sketches. So every night, before I go to sleep, like 5 minutes, a simple sketch, because it really helps for you. Because without a passion, a person is like, I say it's boring. So yeah, you should find a little time for your passion.
Okay, Nisali, now that was the hard part, but I think we are moving on to a harder version of the questions that I have. Now, this is like a rapid fire session where you have to answer to this, like actually choose one of these two. Okay, so more like a this or that question, okay? So, question number 1, classical music or contemporary music?
Classical music, of course.
Lovely. A museum date or an art gallery date?
Oh, that's a tough question. Museum date or art gallery? I would say art museum.
Okay, next one, reading books or watching movies?
Watching movies.
Now, would you rather travel to a city or a countryside?
Countryside, of course.
Cooking or eating out at restaurants?
I love cooking too, but for some special occasions or a little break, I would prefer to go outside for a lovely restaurant.
Spend the day hiking or lounging at the beach?
Oh, that's not a good question. I love both of them. So, okay, let's go in this weekend for a forest, hiking, and next weekend for a beach.
Well, that was a very tricky answer. Next one is solo travel or traveling with friends and family?
Of course, with family or friends, because happiness is real only when it's shared.
Next one is playing sports or participating in cultural events?
Well, cultural events.
Would you rather visit a historical site or a modern architectural wonder?
Well, I love both of them. Well, I would choose architecture.
Last but not least, spending time with your friends or alone time?
Well, I love spending with my friends too, but sometimes I need to have a little time alone. So I will go with the second option.
Okay, Nisali, now moving on to some personal but also art related questions. First one is, tell me a bit about your family.
I'm the youngest in my family. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother who's my twin.
Who do you love the most in your family?
I love all of them. Well, my brother is more closer to me, like we travel together.
Oh, okay. So, next question is, what food, drink, song and movie inspires you?
What song? A song. It's well, I love all the type of songs. Well, my favorite is Taylor Swift, so I like her songs. The drink is coffee, of course. I can't spend the day without coffee. About the movie, I love the movie Into the Wild. I have watched it like 3 times and I can watch it again. What else? Food. Okay. About food, I love food which no, food. Okay. About food, I like which my mom's makes, of course. Yes.
Obviously, Mama's food is undefeatable. So, moving on to the next one. What do you dislike about the art world?
Dislike about the art world? Well, there are so many things in art world like modern arts, abstract paintings, and different people have different ideas about it. But my answer is, I think everyone should have their freedom, right? So everything is art. From that point of view, I don't like to, blame anyone. This is not art. If it's art for himself, it's fine. So I think we should need any criticism in art. It's your freedom to do anything.
Next one is, what do you dislike about your work?
Well, I don't like any of my art.
That's surprising to hear. Now, the next one is pretty personal. What makes you angry?
අසාධාරණේ මට පෙන්වන්න බෑ. That thing, yes, of course.
Next one is a bit fictional. So, what superpower would you have and why?
Superpower? Well. Healing people, maybe? Yeah.
That's a very kind answer. A very kind one. Now, except for being an artist, what else define you?
Oh well, in my school life, I was an athlete. I was a sprinter to 100 and 200 meters. That was my sport. I have had like 2 times championship. And then also I was a music student. I was a pianist. I have had like 1 time being the best player at school. So that was about me, and I started painting like very later in my life, like after doing A-levels. So yeah, it's about music as well as athletic life.
So, what are some of your most remarkable academic achievements?
Academic achievements. Well, I graduated in 2022, Bachelor's of Science Honours in Architecture with the first class honours, as well as I got the Best Performer Award for overall performance in my bachelor's degree from the Liverpool John Moores University, United Kingdom.
Now that is very impressive. So, one last question. What is your dream project?
My dream project? Wow. So, talking about projects, I can choose architecture or art. Well, a dream project would be something like that I can combine both of them. Dream architecture project. Well, if I can do something that can change people's life and like really help for the society, that would be like a dream project for me. For art, well, it's something that I can pay a lot of money. Of course.
Now that's wonderful, Nisali. It's been great having you to the show today, and we wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors, because we know that you are a very great, massive painter And I think that you will do very good and you'll do wonders when it comes to architecture field as well. So thank you so much for being here with us with Relax Media today, and we hope that you had a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was really nice to meet you all and talk about myself. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today. Join us again next time for more inspiring stories and fascinating guests.